Hello, chess fans. Welcome to another edition of Chess Chat, a program brought to you live from the Workers' Credit Union studio at Fitchburg Access Television. I am your host, George Merijanian, Program Director of the Wachusett Chess Club at Fitchburg State University. This club, the second oldest chess club in Massachusetts, meets every Wednesday evening from 6:30 to 10:30 in the McKay Complex at the university. And with me today for this episode of Chess Chat, the 174th episode, is our award-winning director, Darren Dame of Fitchburg, recipient of FATV's prestigious Boulder Award in 2009. And assisting him in the control room and also on camera is fellow resident and longtime Wachusett Chess Club member, Brian Bigelow. And sitting next to me is my colleague, trusty associate, chess author, chess photographer, longtime active chess tournament player, my co-host, Dave Kuchar of Westminster. Hello, Dave.
Hi, George.
Well, Dave, we have the honor and privilege of presenting to our Chess Chat viewers our newly crowned Wachusett Chess Club champion. And he's with us today is our special guest. He's Brett Kildahl of Worcester, who's agreed to join us and talk about his win of the 2022 Wachusett Chess Club Championship.
Thank you for having me, George.
Well, no, you're welcome. We were looking forward to having you on the show and talking about the club championship.
You know, I've wanted to be on Chess Chat since like 2014.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I say since you were like 5 years old.
Well, actually, you know, we were probably remiss that we didn't have you in 2014 because that was the year you became a national master.
It was, yeah.
It was in November
of 2014. That's right. Right before my birthday.
And I remember the event. It was the Ernest von Dreyer Memorial. You won. You swept the field. You won all your games, five straight. And Ernest, if it were not for Ernest von Dreyer, we wouldn't be at Fitchburg State at all. Ernest von Dreyer taught mathematics at Fitchburg State for 33 years.
Wow.
Long time. He became a professor after he retired. He was professor emeritus. But he was the one that convinced to talk the Fitchburg State president and having them host the Wachusett Chess Club at Fitchburg State. So we have to thank Ernest von Dreyer. Again, he died actually 3 days after his 86th birthday back in 2012. November 2nd was the date. 2012.
10 years ago? Wow.
10 years ago. Ernest von Dreyer died 10 years ago, November of 2012. Yeah, but we thank Ernest for making Fitchburg State our host.
Absolutely.
He was able to talk the president, and the president welcomed us with open arms, in that year. So
is master as high as you can go in the USCF?
No. There are different levels of master.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what they are.
Okay.
Right. The senior. They still have the title of senior master.
That's right.
I don't. But anyways, I have to ask you, when did you learn chess, Brett? At what age?
I played for the first time when I was 5 or 6 with my father.
Okay.
Yeah.
But when your father taught you at 5 or 6.
Taught me the rules. Yeah.
Okay, right.
But I didn't learn much about the strategy of the game until I was in my teens.
Okay.
Maybe 16.
So you really didn't get involved, really active in chess until you were around what, 16?
About 16 years old. Yeah.
And then what did you start doing? Playing online?
I played online. Yeah.
Okay.
On. I forget what it was called, US Chess Live, I believe, at the time.
Okay,
Really?
so you played a lot of online chess.
Wow.
A very old website at this point. But,
Okay. So
It's not even around anymore.
now
No,
I
it's
happen
gone.
to know when you played your first rated tournament, first U.S.
yeah.
Chess Federation tournament.
When was that?
That was actually in June 2007.
Okay.
You were like 22 years old.
Must have been 22 then, yeah.
And you did it at the chess club in Worcester, the Greater Worcester Chess Club.
Donna Allery's
Donna
club.
Allery's
Yeah.
Club, the Chess Pals in Worcester. That was your first event. Yeah.
I believe it. That's about the time I finally got up the courage to play in person.
Right, exactly. So, again,
You
you
moved
are...
up fast, though. I mean, to have started really
Well, yeah, actually-
at 16 and to have become a master, that's
Well,
pretty
look at
impressive.
your first provisional rating was you became an expert.
Yeah.
And then you actually were a solid high class A, right up
Somewhere
there.
from 1950 to 1980
Yes, right,
once
exactly,
it was
yeah.
established. Yeah.
But it was November 2014 that you became a national master.
Yes, sir.
Now, even though your rating might have dropped below the 2200
Yes, it has.
threshold, you never lose that title. Once you become a
True.
national master, you will never lose that title. You will always be a national master.
That's true, but I refer to myself as a nominal national master. A national master in name only.
Okay. Now, I'm sure when you played at the Worcester Club, the Worcester Chess Club, Greater Worcester Chess Club, you must have played a New England chess legend there, John Curto.
I sure did.
Did you play John Curto?
Many times.
Yes.
And I lost many times.
You lost many times to John Curto?
Boy,
ever
was he
win?
a good player.
Did you ever beat him?
Beat him one time
Really?
later in his life, but at that point he was still playing at an extremely high level, and he beat me every time.
Well, we did our last chess chat, we did a tribute to John Curto. And today, November 14th, 2022, would be the 91st birthday of John Curto.
Oh, no kidding. Happy birthday, John.
He passed away at age 90 on September 30th of this year. But again, we're celebrating also his 91st birthday today. A significant date in chess history, November 14th.
Yep.
Now, getting back to the club championship. The club championship this year at the club was actually held in 2 sections. Was it not in 2 sections? We had actually a championship section.
Yep.
And then we had a lower section, which I called it the candidates.
Right.
I got criticized for calling it the candidates, but I may come up with a better name for it next time.
Well, folks have criticized the A and B format you've had in the past. So
Yeah, I know. It's a no-win situation.
exactly.
That's
Anyways, in the championship section, there were 16 players, and the 16 players comprised the top 8 rated players.
Yes.
Who at least played 50% of the season's games, as well as those who had Grand Prix points. That is, if you won a game, you get 1 point. If you draw, you get a half point. So those who accumulated Grand Prix points also got seeded into the club championship.
Yeah, Grand Prix points are basically total tournament points. for the
Total
year.
tournament points, right? Exactly. All right. So we're going to show. Maybe we have some photos from the championship. Let's see what we can show here. We'll probably show you first, because you're the club
great.
champion. Here's our official
Yay.
2022 club championship photo. Yeah, this is
There I
you.
am.
And by the way, on the screen behind you is a chess chat.
It's an episode of
An
Chess
episode
Chat
of Chess Chat that's being shown because we show those. We show episodes of Chess Chat
at the club.
At the club,
Yeah.
right.
like an Escher drawing.
All right, exactly.
Chess
So there
chat
you
within
are.
Chess chat.
Now here is actually 2 players who finished tied for 2nd and 3rd.
Anand Nair.
Anand Nair and Ray Paulson on the right. They actually tied with. They had 5 points each, I believe. Yes, 5. Yes, they had. Yeah, they had 5. 5 points.
So they actually finished ahead of Steve?
They finished ahead of Steve. We're going to see a photo of Steve Murray soon, but not yet. Here is actually the second section, the lower section. We have actually in the foreground, on the left, in the blue shirt, a player from Worcester who came up, who's been coming up from Worcester week after week.
And Kosi.
That's the Kosi Mohangi. He's rather intimidating playing. Who's he playing now? Is that Krishna? Krishna Narayanan.
Yep.
So this was played actually in the lower section. So we're just seeing some photos of that. Okay, now we're going to present.
Yep.
Here is the opponent you faced in the final round.
7th round, Steve Murray.
7th round.
That's right.
Now this game was critical.
It was.
Because if Steve Murray had won this game, he would have become the club champion.
I had a clear first place at that point, but only by a half point ahead of Steve. So if he had won the game, yes, he would have been in clear first place.
But we should point out to our viewers, the Chess Chat viewers, that you were unable to play the 2nd round of the tournament. You actually just skipped.
Right.
So there was no bye. You were not giving any half-point bye or anything.
My girlfriend and I took a trip to Disney World in
You
Florida.
went to Disney World? Okay.
So that makes it all the more amazing. I mean,
Yes, you came from behind.
Thank you.
Because actually going into round 3, because you missed round 2,
I was down a point.
You were down a full point.
Yeah.
To with Paulson and Anand, I believe.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. So those two tied again, 2nd and 3rd. But Steve Murray, that we saw a photo of, he tied clear 4th. He was clear 4th.
Yeah.
With 4.5 points.
He had a phenomenal tournament.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. We should mention he had in the championship section, he had the biggest rating gain
Yes, he
of
did.
anybody, which he also did last year.
He did last year also?
And I said we're going to accuse him of sandbagging because he plays his best during the championship.
Wow.
Maybe his strength is against higher rated players.
Yeah,
It
maybe
could
it
be.
is. Maybe it is, yeah.
That's 2 years in a row he had the biggest gain.
We should point out that Steve Murray, he's been a member of our club now for quite a few years, runs and operates a chess club in Westford, the Westford Chess Club.
Yep.
And
Monday nights.
He runs Monday nights What is it? What is it? The time control.
7 o'clock. It's the same time control we have.
It's game 90.
Game 90,
Game 90
5-second
minutes.
delay.
It's a 5-second delay.
Yep.
But he also runs an online tournament when he gets enough players.
Oh, yeah.
On Friday.
Friday nights,
He runs
yeah.
an online blitz. Doesn't he run blitz on?
No,
is it-
I think it's
or maybe
game
it's rapid.
15.
Oh,
I think
it's, okay.
rapid.
So it's rapid.
I think it's game
It's rapid. So he is actually a very active, not only as a player, but also as a tournament organizer,
Yeah.
running tournaments in the Westford Chess Club. So I really commend Steve Murray for being involved with organizing a chess club in Westford. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Now the game that you played against Steve Murray,
Yes.
as I said, was played in the 7th and final round.
That's right.
And Steve Murray had white.
Yes.
So what did Steve Murray play as white, his first move against Brett Kildahl?
So he opened with E4.
Which was a surprise.
Oh, you didn't
because-
expect that?
No, because Steve's been playing D4 a lot recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so that surprised you. You
Yeah,
played E4
yeah,
instead
but I
of
had
D4.
a suspicion he would play E4 against me.
Oh, really?
The two of us have played a few training games with each other online.
Yes.
And we've recorded our thoughts and sent the videos to each other afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and all of those were played with him on the white side playing D4.
D4.
So he knows I know a lot of black defenses.
Black
against
defenses?
D4.
Okay.
Yeah, so against me, he's played D4 too. So
D4?
So yeah, he must have
So I guess he didn't
specifically
want.
prepared.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So what did you play in response to?
I chose an opening called the Karo Khan, which starts with C6.
All right, the Karo Khan defense, which is a very old defense. It was actually named named for two Austrian players, Horatio Caro and Marcus Khan. Horatio Caro, I think, lived in Berlin most of his life, but lived a lot of years in Vienna, Austria. Yeah. So.
And
they-
George, tell me,
Yeah.
is Caro's name first because he's the one who did all the research on the variations?
No, Caro is listed first, but he didn't do the
What a guess.
initial analysis. It was Marcus Khan.
Oh.
So this defense could have been easily called the Khan-Caro defense. Yeah. If Khan had stuck up and said, "Look, I came up with the analysis first," too, but that didn't happen. So,
Sort
but
of
again,
an Edison Tesla type of thing.
yeah, exactly, right. So this is the the move of the Caro Khan defense. So what did
Yes.
Steve Murray do on the
Well,
second
Steve
move?
played. It's not the most common move because the most common move I think is D4 because usually if you can take both center squares,
Right.
It's a good
you
idea.
do it. But he played knight to C3 in threat instead.
Yeah, okay. So it's a delicate piece. Yeah,
Yeah,
isn't it?
also a popular move, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, it is a popular move. All right, so how did you continue?
I played 2 D5,
Right.
taking a hold of the center, the light
Right.
squares in the center.
Okay, so let's see. We see that on our screen here.
Yep.
All right, so what did now Steve Murray do in response to D5?
So he plays knight F3.
And this is called what, Dave? The two knights
Two knights.
variation? Two knights
Yeah,
attack?
sometimes they call it two knights attack, but it's really the two knights variation.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so what are you going to do in response
Well,
to knight F3?
I've seen this in the past against Anand Nair, who we saw in one of the photos
Yes,
earlier.
right.
And
So-
I believe I played D takes E4
Against Anand, you did that?
against Anand, and he recaptured with his knight.
Right.
And I played knight to F6
Okay.
with the hope that he would capture on F6, transposing into another variation of the Karo Khan.
Okay, right.
But you said he played queen.
Instead, he
But
played,
he played
queen
queen.
E2.
All right, so he was booked up.
He
must-
was.
He must have known.
I've learned about Anand during this game and since that he is very good at opening theory.
Okay.
Who won this game when you played?
I don't remember.
You know?
I think it was a draw.
All right, so let's get back to the pawn. Okay, so now he plays. Okay, so knight F3. What did you do in response to knight F3?
I moved my light squared bishop out to G4, pinning the knight to the queen.
Okay.
And I think one of the ideas of the Karo Khan is that it's very solid on the light squares in the center.
Yes.
But unlike the French defense, which ends up trapping the light square
yes,
bishop
right,
behind
shutting
the pawn
in the
chain,
bishop, right.
the Karo Khan at least gives you the chance to move it out before you play
Yep.
E6. Yeah.
Okay. So what is Steve Murray doing in response to this?
So Steve played H3. We say we're putting the question to the bishop. He has to
Absolutely.
move. He has to
Yeah.
either take or retreat.
Right. So what did you do? Did you retreat?
No,
No.
I captured on F3.
Right. You
The point
decided.
in moving the bishop outside the pawn chain was just to not trap it on C8.
Right.
And I don't have a good enough reason not to take on F3. In fact, I think moving back to H5 is thought, again, to be pretty good for white.
Yes, it's
So-
play. Yeah, it's playable. I mean, it's good for white.
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does Steve Murray do?
He takes back with the queen. Queen takes
Okay.
F3.
Now we see after the queen takes on 3, if we see a threefold attack on the pawn on d5, we got
Sure.
the queen, the pawn on d4, the knight. So there's a threat of winning that pawn.
There sure is.
On d5.
There sure is.
So
So black
what are
has
you
to
going
do
to
something
So
about
what
that.
are you going to do in response to this threat?
I played the natural e6. There's no
Right.
more light squared bishop, so forming a really strong central pawn chain on the light squares makes sense.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, Steve Murray's move. What does he do?
So he plays a move we think is a little dubious. He takes the pawn on d5.
Yeah. It's a
Right.
normal looking kind of move.
Yes, but there's a drawback to this move.
There is.
Okay.
He might be better off keeping the tension for a while.
Right, keep the pawn on d5.
Yep.
Don't
And simply develop.
right.
Yeah, because this knight, this queenside knight for black, right now has to go either to a6 or d7 eventually, and those aren't great squares for the
Right.
knight.
Right.
Knights love these third-rank squares on the bishop file, so the knight would love to go to c6.
Right.
But unless white takes on d5, allowing black to take back with the c pawn, that's not possible.
Okay, so he took.
So he
Steve
took
actually
it,
took
so-
on d5.
Yeah.
And of course, you took back with the c pawn.
Yes, sir.
So now the knight
Which
has
vacates that square.
Right.
On
Yes,
yeah, right.
exactly.
And gives black 2 central pawns to white's 1.
Yes.
Right,
So-
exactly. All right, Steve Murray's move. What is he doing?
So now he plays d4.
That makes sense. He's opening up his dark squared
Right.
bishop.
Yep.
Wants to
Yep.
bring the open up for the bishop.
Interesting thing to note, though, is because black played bishop to g4 and took on f3 and white took back with the queen,
Yes.
white has lost both of his defenders of d4.
That's
the queen
right.
from d1 and the knight from f3 are both not doing that job
That's
anymore.
true. Yep.
So this allows you to attack that pawn.
Allows me to play the move knight to c6 with tempo,
Right,
attacking d4.
attacking the pawn on d4.
It's true. Yep.
All right, so how is Steve Murray going to parry this threat?
Good question. Yeah,
So-
he could do it passively with a move like bishop to e3, right?
And defend
Right.
it that way.
He could have done that.
Or he can develop
Pinning.
and pin the knight to the
Yeah.
king.
So, but what did he do? Did he do that?
Yeah.
He did play
Oh,
bishop to
he
b5.
did pin
yeah.
the knight. All right, so the knight is actually pinned, cannot take the pawn on d4 because of the pin.
Yep.
All
It's a
right,
good
so-
idea to develop pieces while you deal with your opponent's threats if you can.
Exactly, right. Okay, so it's your move now.
Yeah,
What do you-
and this was kind of an interesting situation for me strategically
Yeah.
because I have heard, this is kind of abstract and I'm not going to have a lot of information to back it up, but I've heard that this pawn structure
Yes.
is less desirable for black than this one.
Aha. Really? Okay.
So I did not really
Well,
want Steve to take
take
on
the knight.
c6 and have me take back with the b pawn.
So
So I
that's-
want to play rook to c8, developing a piece and allowing me to take back on c6 with a piece instead.
All right.
But then the question is,
Yeah.
if white just castles kingside and goes rook to e1, and then knight takes d5, can he smash open the center
Oh, wow.
and attack my king?
Okay. So that's what you played. You played
Yeah,
rook
I played
c8.
rook to c8, arguing that I had enough time to develop my kingside before he'd be able to break things open.
Okay. What did Steve do now?
So Steve does, in fact, castle on his next move.
All
It's
right.
like a good move to me.
Okay. Castle. Now it's your move. What
Yep.
did you do?
I played bishop to e6, which looks pretty natural. That seems like the best square for the bishop.
Right. Yep.
Staring down at white's king a little bit.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Okay. White's move. What does Steve do?
And just as Brett had suggested, he puts the rook on e1.
All right. And so
And now there's a threat.
Now that,
There's a
that
threat.
pawn is
Now he's threatening to
pinned.
take the pawn on d5 because of the pin.
Yes.
The pawn. So this. So what does one do here? What does black do here?
Well,
Mr.
I analyzed knight to f6 for a while,
Yeah.
but I was made a little bit nervous by the variation knight takes d5,
Aha.
knight takes d5,
And then the.
and then pawn to c4.
Ooh.
So I'm up a piece here, but I wasn't able to calculate my way through all of the variations with the pawns moving up the board and my
Okay.
king still on e8.
Okay. All right. So you chose. not
So, yeah, where are we?
the knight on c3.
So I moved it to e7 instead,
Right.
with the idea that if there's a knight takes d5, I can take
Can
back
just
with the
take right
e-pawn,
back. Yep.
and that's a lot safer.
Yes. Okay. Steve Murray's move. What is he doing?
So now he develops his other bishop.
Yes. Bishop to g5.
5.
Pins the knight. All right. I mean,
Something that's fascinating about this game is, to me, is that white's moves all look normal,
Yeah.
yeah,
but
right.
black ends up with an advantage coming out of the opening.
Really.
It's very
Okay.
strange, yeah. Normally, in order to see black better after the opening, white has to make some obvious mistakes.
Yeah. Okay. So after bishop g5, what did you play?
I castled kingside, getting out of the way in time.
Right. Okay. White's move. What did Steve Murray do now?
So Steve centralizes his other rook.
Yeah.
So he's developed, all his pieces are now developed.
Yep.
All of his
He's
pieces
got
are in
every
play.
single piece of it.
Morphy would be proud.
Well,
Right.
but you've also developed all your pieces.
True.
So, yeah, Morphy would be proud. Exactly. Okay, so now it's Black's move, your move.
Yep.
What are you going to do now?
I relieved the pin along this diagonal and activated my queen with queen to b6.
Now, what is the threat? You have a threat now.
Which threat are you looking at, George?
Well, I'm looking, for example. Oh no, I'm looking actually the knight and the queen attacking the pawn.
Yeah, we're putting a lot of pressure on that d4
There's a lot of
pawn.
pressure on that pawn.
Yes.
So that pawn looks like it needs to be defended
It
again.
does.
Yeah.
Because it's attacked twice by you. It is only defended once
by White.
by Steve.
True.
So he probably said, I cannot lose that d pawn.
Yeah.
All right. So
But I think this was probably a mistake.
a mistake on his part.
So I mean, one choice he had was, since there's two attackers, he could have eliminated one.
Yeah, with
He
bishop
could have
takes
done that.
c6.
Right. Yeah. But he chose not to do that. Did he do that?
No, he retreated his dark squared bishop to the
Retreated.
e3
Oh.
square.
Yeah, he should have actually.
So now it's hemmed in by his own pawn now.
Yeah, so White spent the opening expanding, taking a lot of squares and being aggressive, but now he's kind of contracting
back.
a little
Yes.
bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he retreated the bishop to e3, defending the pawn on d4. It's your move. What
It
are
is
you
my
doing?
move.
Okay.
I played knight to f5, which takes a little bit of calculation because you have to realize that if White plays knight takes d5,
Yeah.
he takes d5, and then grabs the knight with the
Yes.
queen, Black's grabbing a bishop
The
on
bishop
d5.
on b5. Right.
So that doesn't actually work.
That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what does he do? Your knight is actually on f5, attacking the bishop on e3.
Yeah. So now perhaps move too late. He does.
He takes now.
He takes on
the knight
c6.
on
That's
c6.
right.
Okay. And again, you're taking back with the rook, not with the pawn, as you point out. Yeah.
But no, he's not.
Oh, you're not. Oh, I'm sorry. You're not doing that.
No.
You got a Zwischenzug.
Yes, I have an in-between move. That's
You
right.
have an in-between move, a Zwischenzug, a very good Zwischenzug. And you played what?
Knight takes the bishop on
Excellent.
e3.
Excellent move. Okay.
And so the idea is now White has to take the knight back, I'll take the bishop, and at that point we have a middle game position in which Black's minor piece is a lot better than White's.
Right. All right. So now here is now a critical position in the game. Here is where he goes astray.
Yeah.
Does he go astray now?
Yeah, this is where he goes the most
probably
astray.
Should have
He probably should have taken with the pawn.
Simply grab the knight.
Take the knight with something, yeah.
Yes, right.
absolutely.
Take the knight with something.
Yep.
Yeah. But he didn't do that.
Well, he saw something interesting, so
really?
he kept
Okay.
the tactical sequence going.
Okay.
He played bishop takes b7,
Yeah.
Right.
and his idea was that if what happened in the game happened, knight takes d1,
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, hold on a second. Let's see. Make sure it gets.
Yeah.
up on
Right.
the
We'll
screen.
wait until he.
So.
Okay. We'll see it on our board.
Okay, so we just got bishop takes b7.
Okay.
Okay.
Now
Knight takes d1.
Knight takes d1.
Yeah. Knight takes the rook on d1. Knight takes d1. We see that. We now see it. Knight
All right,
takes
and
d1.
now bishop takes c8,
Right. He took there. Right. But he forgets.
and knight takes c3. His idea was he wanted to take back on c3 with the queen, protecting the bishop,
Yes.
and ending up equal in material.
Aha. Right. Okay.
But there are two problems with queen takes c3.
the problem with that is
One of them is that the bishop's going to go to b4,
Ooh.
skewering the queen and
and
rook.
winning the rook.
Yeah.
With a skewer.
And the other is that even if the rook were not on that square,
Yes.
bishop to b4 would force the queen to leave the defense of the
Oh,
bishop,
the bishop
on c8.
on
Right,
on f1.
Yeah, so in this
F8,
position,
C,
Steve resigned.
c8. So he resigned here.
He did.
Okay.
So it definitely wasn't immediately obvious because I looked at the game when it was over and I said, why is Steve resigning here?
Yeah.
And then they had to point it out what the problems were. So.
Right. Okay.
But he had really a fantastic tournament.
No, he did. Coming in the clear fourth, and again he was basically right a half point behind you,
Right, yeah.
and his task was to defeat you
Yeah.
to become
Right.
world champion. But that was
World champion. Club champion.
Club champion. I'm sorry, club champion.
Same thing.
Okay, but if you have aspirations, ambitions for a world champion,
Well, now he does.
now you
does.
do.
His head
Okay.
is swelled, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this was your first Wachusett Chess Cup championship win.
Yes, I played in it once before,
Right.
but lost, I believe, to Ray Paulson in the first round and won the rest of my games.
Yes.
But he stayed ahead of me.
He stayed ahead of you. Yeah. Ray Paulson is a multi-time Wachusett Chess
Right.
Cup champion.
Yeah, very good
Yeah.
player.
But I think you were the highest rated in the championship section. Though,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
I think.
you're the highest rated, yeah, exactly. So again, the Wachusett Chess Club goes back, as I say, is the second oldest chess club in Massachusetts. The only older called chess club is the Boylston Chess Club,
Okay.
which, by the way, has moved to a new playing site in Boston. They were actually in North Cambridge, on Norris Street in North Cambridge. They are now in the basically the financial district.
Wow.
In Boston now, yeah, which is actually gonna make it a little more difficult for players coming from the suburbs. As far as the parking situation is horrendous.
I bet.
As far as in Boston, but the Boylston Chess Club is the oldest club. The Boylston Chess Club was established in August 1919. That's how old the Boylston Chess Club.
Holy cow.
Now the Wachusett Chess Club didn't acquire its name, Wachusett Chess Club. When I was there as a teenager, it was known as the Fitchburg Chess Club in the late 50s. It wasn't until February 1960 that we actually adopted a name, the Wachusett Chess Club, to encompass the area, the region, the Wachusett region, which we're in, because of Mount Wachusett. Again, the club goes back actually more than 60 years.
Wow.
And we've had actually some great players that have come to Fitchburg. We had Bobby Fischer.
Oh, that's right.
Bobby Fischer, the only chess club that Bobby Fischer came to on his national tour in 1964 was the Wachusett Chess Club.
Was it really?
He didn't go to the Boylston Chess Club. He didn't go to the club in Worcester. He didn't go to these bigger clubs, Springfield, Worcester.
Do you know why he came to the Wachusett Club?
I think he did his homework. I think he found out that the most successful or the most popular tournaments back in the 1960s were held in Fitchburg. The event was called the Central New England Open. And he said, well, I want to go where there's a hotbed of chess. And it was actually Larry Evans, Grandmaster Larry Evans' father, who arranged this tour, who actually made arrangements with Rocco Pasquale, who was one of the founders of the Wachusett Chess Club, to come to Fitchburg, again, the only club that he came to.
What was the year?
That was 1964. I can say the date, March 2nd, 1964.
Okay. And how long have you been the director of the club?
Well, I've been director since 1968, November 1968, yeah. So that's a long time. Now, another player, a former world champion who came to Fitchburg in February 1982 was Tigran Petrosyan.
Really?
Yeah, world champion. Who was a world champion? What year was it? 1963.
He was separated by a bunch of years, right?
Well, actually, he finally lost to Boris Spassky in 1969, but he beat Botvinnik, in 1963, and held it for 6 years until 1969. But Petrosyan was here in February 1982 after he was no longer world champion. But again, that was a big event. Having a world champion come to Fitchburg, and that was big. That was when our club was meeting at the St. Joseph Club in Clegon, in the Clegon section of Fitchburg. Yep. So anyways, the Wachusett Chess Club is has a very rich history, and you're part of that history now.
I love playing that.
As now our newly crowned 2022 the club championship.
Thanks.
And I look forward to you playing in future years.
I hope to.
In the club championship, yeah, because right now you are the highest rated player at the club.
A target on your back.
Right, exactly. Okay, so any questions for Brett? Did you like to ask, Brett?
I think we're just about done.
Okay.
Although we're supposed to refer to him now as champ, right?
Absolutely.
He's a
If
champ.
anyone refers to him as anything else, it's like a 2-minute penalty on their clock.
Exactly, yeah. So again, we look forward to seeing you at the club on Wednesday night.
I look forward to being there. You run a great club, George.
Yeah, and we appreciate your support of the club, along with other Worcester area players.
Quite a few.
Yeah, no, we have quite a few Worcester players who have now come up because the Worcester Chess Club, Donna Allery's club, has not reopened.
That's true.
So we're getting Worcester players. So, Chess Chat fans, we hope you enjoyed the game that Brett Kildahl, our newly crowned club champion, and Dave Kuchar presented to you. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Chess Chat.